just more and more smoke, leading to the fire that is Keegan Bradley being on this team as a player.
Yeah, I think we're all expecting it at this point. And, Keegan, he knows he can't play poorly in the playoffs. Like, he knows he needs to keep momentum going. And if he continues to play well, he's going to be on this team.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Christopher Sanchez of the Philadelphia Phillies is one of 3 Major League Baseball pitchers to have a 7-start span featuring an undefeated record, a sub-1.5 ERA, 50 or more innings pitched, 50 or more strikeouts, fewer than 5 walks, no more than 1 home run allowed.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
One big problem for NBC, too many on-air cooks for the coverage, particularly on the weekends. Having 4 on-air teams separate time, divide the time, was really outrageous. You had Mike Tirico and his partner. You had Dan Hicks, NBC Sports' lead golf commentator, and his partner. You had Steve Sands from Golf Channel and his partner. And you had Terry Gann, who, by the way, if you don't know, is going to become an NBA play-by-play voice.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions with you here on a Thursday night on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, as we have 90 minutes to get you ready for tonight's Major League Baseball slate, which includes 3 fantastic NFL preseason games. I am telling you, I cannot fake this excitement. We're getting the goods, I believe it, in preseason. And once again, as someone who was all excited about the Hall of Fame game, and as someone who was incredibly wrong about that Hall of Fame game, I am incredibly excited to bet all 3 of these preseason games tonight, and we will get to them in just a little bit. We will also get to the massive news out of training camp from the LA Chargers, where their star and recently paid left tackle Rashawn Slater is out for the remainder of this season after he went down with a patella tendon rupture, a devastating blow. This was a team that was on Kevin 7, the potential Super Bowl list. This is absolutely impactful enough to impact their standing on that list. We will get into that. We will talk some WNBA as well. But we begin tonight with the Major League Baseball board, where the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds are in action. And we begin here not just because this game does start momentarily, but because it features the National League Cy Young favorite in Paul Skeens. And Paul Skeens is in a spot tonight where I think he is going to have himself a fantastic game. And I think one of the treats of this game tonight is there is a DK boost on what is my favorite bet for this game, which is Paul Skeens to continue to ramp up his strikeout stuff. 7.5 is the number, -110, -104. It's moved throughout the day, but you can get it at +125 with the boost over on DK, and I love that boost because Paul Skeens started this season very slow in the strikeout department. Through his first 18 starts, his K per 9 rate was a 9.3. Underwhelming when you think about the pedigree that Skeens has and what he flashed in his rookie season. A K per 9 of 11.5 over those 23 starts. Well, Skeens has started to get it back since early July. Over Paul Skeens' last 5 starts, his K per 9 rate is 13. And we are seeing Skeens start to get more and more of a leash in these games as some of this was pulled back kind of bizarrely heading into that All-Star break. But 99 and 94 pitches in his last 2 starts, 9 strikeouts and 8 strikeouts in those starts. And what makes me like this even more is Skeens fell victim to the same thing that seemingly every pitcher does these days, to playing in cores. He only went 5 innings and gave up 4 earned runs. The third time where Skeens allowed 4 or more earned runs in a game this season. I think it is a clear and obvious bounce-back spot for arguably baseball's best pitcher going up against Cincinnati. For the Reds tonight, it's a matter of how much you believe in the recent Brady Singer form. Since July, he had 1 really bad start against Washington. They lit him up for 7 earned runs in less than 3 innings. But beyond that, Brady Singer's been really good. And his last 2 starts are 13 and a third inning, 1 earned run, which came on a solo home run, 7 hits, 18 strikeouts. He has been fantastic recently, and it's why you're getting such a low total tonight. You're seeing 7.5 in the market or 7 in the market at minus 125, maybe some 6.5s out there as well. I will say for Cincinnati, as somebody who is still only invested in the Reds in the World Series market, we did our Kevin 7 earlier this week around the World Series market, how I think it should look. There were tempting numbers on Houston, on Chicago, but I think we have time still to jump in, right? There's a lot of moving parts right now. Boston, continually seeing their number slashed. Seattle handle their business against the White Sox, and they may be able to, if they work out of trouble here in the top 8th, get themselves a sweep there. Their number will continue to move. But the Reds have an opportunity, after they were able to grab a series victory on the road against the Cubbies, to take 4 games here up against this Pittsburgh team. Take 3 out of 4. I mean, that really should be the expectation for this Reds group. They will be a bit frustrated that the Diamondbacks couldn't close the door in some of the games against the Padres, who ended up taking the final 2 of that series, where Arizona was incredibly live in both. The Reds sit right now 3 back of a wild card spot, with that team being the New York Mets, who are ice cold post-deadline, really since post-All-Star break. If the Cincinnati Reds are going to be able to actually turn this up, they have to handle business here against Pittsburgh, because then they play 6 straight games at home, sure, but against the Philadelphia Phillies and the Milwaukee Brewers. And you have to beat good teams if you want to be in the playoffs, but you also need to beat the worst teams if you want to be in the playoffs. So this is a big spot here for Cincinnati, and I think it's a spot overall for the series they can take advantage of, even if it's a tough start tonight with Paul Skeens going. We do have the game tonight between the Braves and the Marlins. If anyone is super interested in getting involved there, with Miami as a minus 135 favorite, it's incredible, but the Braves continue to play bad baseball. Couldn't handle their business yesterday against Milwaukee to avoid a sweep. The Marlins, on the other hand, again, one of very few teams above 500 on the road this year. Yuri Perez has been excellent for this ball club pretty consistently, and I know they're really excited about that youngster down in South Beach there. I understand liking Miami. I just can't get to this team at, let's get your most recent price, minus 138, minus 132 on the road against the Braves. I cannot get there. I understand if you are liking the Marlins overall. To remind you, for me tonight, outside of the preseason, my favorite bet is Paul Skeens for 8 Ks. That's a minus 110 straight, but there is a boost available for that exact bet over on DK at plus 125 which I think is incredibly worth your time. Our guy Chris is going to go to Seattle, take 5.5 points against the Raiders as they're the late game here in the preseason action. And I don't say this meanly. I think it's just knowing someone. The most predictable 9-1 best bet you could imagine from Sam Yarnell. It's Ravens and it's Eagles, and it's a money line parlay at plus 923 for a couple of home dogs. And it is all home dogs tonight on your preseason slate. The current numbers, 6.5 Ravens at home against the Colts, 6.5 Eagles at home against the Bengals, and Seattle catching 4.5 at home against Vegas. I truly love all three of these games. The reason that I didn't put one of these games in the best bet is I couldn't separate them. I love them all. I love them equally, and we're going to bet them all equally, and we're going to talk about them next, right here on Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions with you here on a Thursday, and we have 3 preseason games to get involved with tonight. We begin in Baltimore, where the Ravens and the Colts offer up what is truly the main event of this slate. And my favorite bet in this game is moving against me, and I quite frankly do not care. I am on the over at 36.5. This number is now 35.5 at most recent, and within a number of sports books. I I wish I got the best of the number. You always want to get the best of the number, but I think I'm on the right side here. The Indianapolis selling point is an easy one to understand. Preseason NFL betting is all about quarterbacks. It is how the numbers are decided. It is how everybody makes their decisions. It is up to the bettor to figure out, is it an overreaction? Can you really trust those quarterbacks? These are the things that we try and figure out. Indianapolis is going to attack this game for the entire first half with two potential starters in Anthony Richardson and then Daniel Jones. Richardson will be playing most of the first half, and then a little bit of it will land at the feet of Daniel Jones. They'll do an inverse of that for their second preseason game against the Green Bay Packers. The Indianapolis Colts, though, being booked as 6.5-point favorites against former preseason juggernaut, the Baltimore Ravens, I just cannot get down with. This is a Ravens team who had won, I think, 20 plus, was it 24 straight preseason games with Harbaugh? It was snapped a couple of years ago against Washington in 2023. They have since not covered a number in the preseason. But the Ravens being booked as dogs in the preseason by nearly a touchdown at home is not a thing. I went back and forth, though, because I think a lot of people will be running to the Ravens through the lens of Harbaugh and his dominance, and I think people will be running to the Colts through the lens of their quarterbacks playing a ton. I think both of these offenses thrive. I think the Richardson-Jones combination could put up 20-plus in the first half. But I think the Ravens will be game to match the scoring. Cooper Rush is good relative to preseason quarterback play, and I think we'll play a decent amount. There isn't anything behind Devin Leary as far as the third string goes in this room. It could be a 50-50 split, maybe 60-40, but that 40% you're going to get out of Cooper Rush in a Todd Monken offense is good enough for me. I like over 36.5. Ravens Colts. You can get a better number now, if you'd like, by getting involved at the 35.5, and who wouldn't want a better number? Now we get to Eagles-Bengals. In what reads to me as the most obvious zag spot we could see in preseason the entire time. The Cincinnati Bengals will be playing starters for multiple series, is what we have been told. Most notably, they will be playing the offense. They will be playing Joe Burrow. Why are they doing this? Why is it noteworthy that they are doing this? Because Cincinnati, year in and year out, cannot seem to hit the ground running. Week 1 and 2, they lose and struggle. So now, the Bengals, who are looking to use this preseason time to knock off rust, are going to throw Burrow out there for 2 drives and be up 14-0. Yeah, I will happily fade that notion. With Cincinnati on the road against an Eagles team who I think will be more than game for the challenge. And a Philadelphia team that, if you keep your ear to the ground, like Tanner McKee, more than any team in football probably likes their backup quarterback. And I like Kyle McCord a little bit coming out of Syracuse. I think the Eagles will be game. If this becomes a shootout, Philly's going to play some of their youngsters on the defensive side of the ball, most notably Jahad Campbell, who they took in the first round. I think the Eagles win this game outright. I took the 6.5 points with no hesitation. And then you get a late-night narrative spot. Pete Carroll returns to Seattle as the Raiders are on the road against the Seahawks. Now, this is one where I was able to get the best of the number in taking the 5.5. It's down to 4.5. I still think the 4.5 is fine. Over a field goal for Seattle at home is good to me. The Raiders are expected to play Geno Smith a little bit here, but I don't think it'll be all too much. And I don't expect Ashton Genty to run wild here for the Vegas Raiders in this preseason game. The most impactful rookie in this preseason game will likely be Jalen Milroe, the third rounder out of Alabama, who may not even get the first crack tonight against this Raiders team, which is perfect. Drew Lock, I think that is solid preseason quarterback play. I think Drew Lock and Aiden O'Connell is a wash. So then you get Jalen Milroe out there potentially in the late third, full fourth quarter, and I think Seattle at home has the edge. So give me Seattle plus the 5.5. My preseason plays Ravens over 36.5 in their game with the Indianapolis Colts. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles plus the 6.5 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals, and give me the Seattle Seahawks plus 5.5 at home against the Vegas Raiders. Preseason action. What a delight. It starts in 10. We have you covered the whole way on Game Time Decisions.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shador's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Becoming just harder in general to do business from a money standpoint in general, let alone the competition. So yeah, Betfred closing up shop, will be gone by tomorrow. We'll see if any sportsbook fills this void. It'll mean that there's a license up for grabs in Pennsylvania, which is one of the biggest states for sports betting and is home to a lot of other operators. At this point, we're getting to a time when no one's rushing into the market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Game Time Decisions back with you on a Thursday night. We are underway with the baseball once again, as you have, or a new game, I really should say, Reds Pirates. Skeens had to work out a little bit of trouble in that opening inning, but was able to get a double play to do so. He struck out TJ Friedel, the first batter. So one strikeout already there for Skeens, and it was only 14 pitches, so it was just fine. We're heading to the bottom of the ninth in Seattle, Chicago, as the Mariners and the White Sox are tied at 2 apiece. So we could end up getting extras in that one. We're about 20 or so minutes away from Atlanta and Miami. Let's go over the two steps that we have for you on this Thursday, and then we'll talk maybe a little more Rashawn Slater. We do have NFL insider Adam Kaplan at the top of the hour. We'll see if he has any instant reaction around that Slater news, and he was also at Colts-Ravens training camp a little bit this week, so we'll get some thoughts from him and what he saw in that QB battle in Indianapolis. I don't know how many people know this. I will say this, though, because I don't want to take up the time with Cap, but is it last season? I think it was last season. Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell was a real battle according to the books. Cap was steadfast the whole way. It was obviously always going to be Gardner Minshew, and you could have absolutely capitalized in the market on that notion. So just something to keep your eyes on, wondering if he gleaned anything away from his time out there in Baltimore. Thursday two-step here. And I got to tell you, the two steps, I've been trying them, little 1-2, right? And it's 50%. It's 50%, right? So I figured today, let's NFL season long up the ante a little bit. This is one I've had sitting in the drafts, if you will. It's Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts for 30-plus passing touchdowns. You're getting 10-1 on that number. The Baker piece of it is minus 120. Baker Mayfield last year really under-discussed with a 41 passing touchdown season. Baker was incredible for the Bucs, and they just continue to give him weapons, drafting Emeka Egbuka in the first round, most notably, alongside still Mike Evans. At some point, they expect Godwin back, Bucky in the receiving game, Jalen McMillan year number 2. So the Baker piece of this, I don't think anybody will raise an eyebrow at. For Jalen Hurts, that single number is around 5-1. I think that the high-level Hurts passing props are tempting. I know everything Jalen says publicly is it'll be the same. The results are the results. The main thing is the main thing. And I think that is all true. But I also think sometimes on the 3-yard line, a tight end bubble screen could end up having the right result. Also, if Philly is just in a position to need to pass more, then Jalen Hurts could creep towards this number. His career high is 23 2 seasons ago. He's not too far away from potentially getting himself a 30 passing touchdown season, and it's a 10-1 price. A little bit lower for Yarnell, who goes to the tight end room. Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys and Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. Ferguson for 750-plus receiving yards. Mark Andrews for 6 receiving touchdowns. I think both of those could be sharp. With the way that Lamar Jackson just continues to up the touchdown volume, Andrews is still there, likely banged up in camp. You're absolutely in the race. And Jake Ferguson is under-discussed when you think about expected tight end production, because the Dallas Cowboys do feel like a team who could have a quarterback throw for 5,000 this year in Dak Prescott. And if that happens, it's like, oh, well, what if CD goes for 15 and Pickens goes for $1,000? There's going to be plenty to go around in Dallas. So I see the vision there. Chris, relatively speaking, keeps it a bit safer, but of the three, you see why this price is the price. I like where his head is at for both of these. It's Calvin Ridley for $750. It's Garrett Wilson for $1,000. If anything, if I was going to complain, I would have just gone double $1K for Wilson and Ridley. I am high on what Calvin Ridley can produce this year statistically. I think Cam Ward is live to throw for $4,000 in his rookie season. Tennessee is going to need it. They've given him a decent enough offensive line where he should have some time to throw, and I think that Titans defense could be set up to be awful and give up a lot of passing yards in their own right there. So I don't mind that Calvin Ridley piece of it. And Garrett Wilson, you guys know, Chris, incredibly high on what he can bring to the table. We're going to take a break. We're going to come on back. We're going to talk some NFL headlines with our guy, Adam Kaplan, next, right here on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shador's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's becoming just harder in general to do business from a money standpoint in general, let alone the competition. So yeah, Betfred closing up shop will be gone by tomorrow. We'll see if any sportsbook fills this void. It'll mean that there's a license up for grabs in Pennsylvania, which is one of the biggest states for sports betting and is home to a lot of other operators. At this point, we're getting to a time when no one's rushing into the market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Game time decisions here on a Thursday night. NFL preseason action about to get underway as we have the Ravens and the Colts batting leadoff here. And appropriately, we have Adam Kaplan stopping by, longtime NFL insider, who's starting to make the rounds here during training camp. And Cap, we'll start with Baltimore and Indianapolis. You were able to see a little bit from these teams, the joint practices. Was there something that really stood out to you in your time in Baltimore?
Here's my thing with Kevin with the Ravens. I heard you in the previous segment talk about likely. They're still going to be. They have plenty of tight ends, even if he's not ready early. They've got Mark Andrews, Charlie Kohler. They're a team that doesn't use a lot of receivers, so the offense will still go. The passing game still goes through the tight end. We know where it goes in the run game with Henry. They're fine there. I'm not worried about the Ravens at all. And Richardson's going to start this game. The thing that you want to watch with Richardson is the accuracy. That is the big thing for him. When he was a rookie, before he hurt his shoulder for the first injury that he had, he got off to a really good start where you're like, wow, but then it dissipated. The accuracy is the big issue with him. We know about the leadership issue with him. He got benched last year. They think he got the message. They think he's done all the right things, said all the right things. But the bottom line is Daniel Jones is brought in there for a reason, to push him. Daniel Jones isn't making starter money, about $14 million. It's certainly high-end backup money. But they want Richardson to seize the job, and it starts tonight against those Ravens.
Would you say, Cap, that they will – because the expectation now from the books is Richardson will win this job. Do you think that they would be quick to pull Richardson, though, and go to Daniel Jones? Or they're going to give this kid, ideally, 10-plus games no matter what?
I'm going to give you two things on your question. A, it depends what he looks like. If it's bad, how bad. If it's not good enough, what does it look like? And B, Daniel Jones also has to look good in practice.
That's true.
Thing. He's got to look good. Daniel Jones and being with Kevin O'Connell last season on the Vikings practice squad, I think that really helped him. Kevin O'Connell is like one of the quarterback whisperers. He's phenomenal at developing quarterbacks and coaching them. So that's the way I would answer that question. And let's not forget, Chris Ballard has been there since 2017. They haven't had a lot of success. They've been very average, their general manager. He's not a bad drafter, but for whatever reason, he hasn't got the quarterback position right. It wasn't his fault that Andrew Luck retired suddenly, but the bottom line is since then, they haven't got it right at quarterback, and they've been very mediocre. and they got to be better. I mean, and remember, Jim Irsay has passed away, unfortunately, and his daughters are running the football team. So you got to see how that kind of shakes out. And they've been very average. Let's call it like it is over the 8 years that Ballard's been there. So we got to see how that happens. But it's a great question, Kevin, because you always got to see what it really looks like.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, he's not been good enough at the quarterback position.
No, and that is fair, but we also know, and they've talked about it openly, he didn't have a lot of experience in college, and he's not had a lot of experience in the NFL due to health as well. Initially, I saw the Daniel Jones stuff, and I thought they had given up on him, but I think they wanted to light that fire under him, and you can tell that they're just hoping this gets the best out of a young player that they, I think, still feel has legitimate upside. Cap, you're always certainly around things going on in Philadelphia. They're going to play in about a half an hour against the Cincinnati Bengals. Have you had any takeaways from Philadelphia's early portions of training camp?
Yeah, Kevin, you know this as being an Eagles fan. The issue is not the offense. They're going to have one change at right guard. And Mekhi Becton's playing with the Chargers now, and it's going to be Tyler Steen at right guard. That's not the issue. The issue is on defense. That's why they made the trade at corner for Jacorian Bennett, who they really like, who's a pretty good athlete, smart kid, coachable. He's coming off of labrum surgery on his shoulder, but he's going to be in the mix starting next week to potentially start opposite Quinyon Mitchell. They're not happy with that cornerback position opposite Mitchell. There's no question about that. Watch Jahad Campbell tonight. Who's going to play. Should play quite a bit. He's over his, speaking of a labrum surgery, he's over it. He's looked good in training camp. But Kevin, they're going to have a minimum of 5 new starters on defense. And we know they had the number 1 defense in the National Football League last season, but they're having a lot of change here. And that cornerback position opposite Mitchell is a question mark, a major one. Watch out for that. Dory Jackson and Keely Ringo are the 2 main competitors. Hasn't been good enough, as I understand it. But other than that, Kevin, they feel pretty good about their front 7. But that cornerback position opposite Mitchell is a major question mark right now.
It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. They tonight are going up against Cincinnati, Cap. I just was curious if you had any thoughts on Zach Taylor playing starters. I think it makes sense. I think they have to embrace the slow starts that they've had in recent years. I don't know if they're going to look great tonight. I'm kind of betting that they won't, but I think this makes sense. I'm curious what you believe.
Yeah, I understand what Zach Taylor's doing. Now, the point is why a lot of teams don't do it. The Eagles are likely not going to do it tonight. And a lot of teams don't like Sean McVay, does not play their starters.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid gave me this great line. I asked him many years ago when he was with the Eagles. Because Andy would either not play a starter or briefly play him. And I'm like, Coach, why do you do that? And I remember, I'm going to paraphrase it. He's basically said that his job was to get his starters to the first game of the season. Now, what I find ironic is with Kansas City, he's kind of done a 180. He will play his starters with the Chiefs. He really didn't do that much with the Eagles, but most coaches don't want to play their starters very much, if at all, during the preseason. But Zach Taylor, and after they now, obviously they had some injuries last year, and they got the Trey Hendrickson situation to deal with. But here's the thing now, looking at the betting line, depending which book you look at, you're looking at 6 points. I mean, the Bengals should score 28 to 35 in this game, depending on how long they play Burrow. They should come out smoking in this game in the first quarter. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I think that's what the expectations are, and as you said, the books are expecting it. The books are unsure what to make of that AFC West, it feels, in some ways, Cap, because Kansas City is Kansas City. There's buzz for Denver, and there was some legitimate buzz for Chargers. I know that I was starting to believe it, potentially for L.A., but Rashawn Slater goes down and almost immediately ruled out for the season. Have you heard anything early out of L.A. and what this means for this football team?
Yeah, and Rashawn Slater, I'm glad he signed his extension last week. He's the left tackle. He's a blindside protector. It's a torn patella tendon. That is a season-ending injury. That's a 9-month, at least, rehab. And it's worse than an ACL in terms of rehab and how long he can come back. It's a couple more months. So what they're probably going to do is move Joe Alt, who's the right tackle, move him to left, and then Trey Pipkins, who's been a starter at right tackle in the past, he could also start at guard. They can move him to right tackle. Now, I'm also told last year the Titans were going to draft Joe Alt, had the Chargers not done it, and they were going to play Alt at left tackle. And as you know, it didn't work out that way because the Chargers beat him to it. So, yeah, it's funny you say that about picking the Chargers. I'll admit it. I've been on record on SportsGrid for months. I was going to pick the Chargers to win that division. I know the Chiefs own the Chargers, but I love the coaching there by Harbaugh. He's incredible.
Yeah.
He gets the most out of his rosters anywhere he's been, from University of San Diego, Stanford, the Niners, as you know, in Michigan, the Chargers. But it's going to be hard. You can't look at it the same way. It's going to be a little different. There's no question about it.
Yeah, to Cap's point about Harbaugh, I think maybe you and I are seeing the Chargers similarly, at least before today. Harbaugh's basically an automatic 11-win guy in his time in the NFL. That is not an easy thing to do, but this is a huge blow, and it's a reminder why, if you can, you'd rather wait to let stuff like this play out. Cap,
Sure.
We will be checking in throughout the lead up to this NFL season. We appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, great stuff there from Adam Kaplan, NFL Insider. And Cap helps us, with all of this stuff here in the lead up. And even when we get to draft season, we have questions for Cap. Although when we get there in April, maybe we won't be talking about Arch Manning. That's next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions with you on a Thursday night. Quick update on your live board here on this Thursday. Major League Baseball, it is 3-2 going into the bottom of the 10th with a White Sox lead. They were able to plate one, actually on a wild pitch, to start the extra innings portion of that game. It is 3-0 Pittsburgh, who plated three in that first inning there, a Brian Reynolds home run. A little bit more action after that, put them in a good position. Skeens 2 Ks through 2 innings. It is also 3-0 in the NFL preseason action. after Anthony Richardson and the Colts were able to take over a Cooper Rush interception. The Colts took over around midfield. They did have a decent Tyler Warren screen pass called back, so that put them in bad position. They take the field goal. They make the field goal. It's 3-0. Now, there's a lot of good stuff that is still to come in these preseason games, but I want to take an opportunity to talk about one of these stories that resonated with me. I felt more than most in the moment, and I think it's just due to the odds nature of what we do here, because nationally, when the NFL draft passed and you get your way too early mock drafts in April, and I love those. Those are fun. I've always enjoyed thinking about 2026. You had those mock drafts, you had those thoughts out there, and you had the odds. And the odds told us Arch Manning was going to be the first overall pick. But the draft analysts, and notable draft analysts, Todd McShay, whose reputation needs no explaining, Matt Miller of ESPN, both said that they were not going to put Arch Manning in their way too early mock drafts, and they were not considering Arch Manning as a prospect for the 2026 NFL draft. And they cited the Mannings have a plan, and their plan does not involve Arch leaving Texas after one season as a starter. The odds never bit on any of that. It wasn't loud enough, seemingly. And I guess they didn't want to offer Arch Manning too far down the board, but they wanted Arch's name on the marquee, right? They didn't want to just not offer Arch Manning at all. So he was booked as the favorite. And then Arch's grandpa lets everybody know, famous New Orleans Saints quarterback, Arch isn't going to the 2026 NFL draft. He'll be at Texas. And the odds immediately move. Now, it's not a full-throat belief, clearly, from odds makers. They did put 4 different quarterbacks in front of Arch. Garrett Nussmeier of LSU, Cade Klubnik of Clemson, Lenora Sellers of South Carolina, and Drew Aller of Penn State. But Arch still at plus 850, the books wonder to themselves, maybe. And really, if you are the books, why not give people a chance to bet Arch? A plus 850 number is probably not backbreaking. And if Arch doesn't declare, I assume they'll be able to grade that as a win for the book, not a push or not a void wager. That's my expectation. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't hang it. What is remarkable to me is that you have the Manning family already dictating the journey for Arch Manning, which goes against, I think, all of the normal process here, or at least relative, again, to expectations. It's not that Arch Manning is a viral sensation that people are excited to see in the NFL. Arch Manning is the Heisman Trophy favorite. Heisman Trophy favorite. That is who Arch Manning is. Arch Manning is the quarterback of Texas, who are the national championship favorites. So if favorites held, and I understand it's not as simple as, but Arch Manning is set to win the Heisman Trophy and the national championship this year, be draft eligible, have whomever has the first overall pick. Cleveland, New Orleans, Miami, you want to get wild, and have those teams salivating to bring Arch in. And the idea is, no. He's going back to Texas. I have wondered, are the Mannings using this as their starting position because they are willing to bring Arch back to Texas? Texas is more than willing to bring Arch back into their building. If they do not like the team drafting first overall, if they don't think the Browns are a good landing spot, Arch is going back. If Arch Manning going to Archie Manning's franchise in New Orleans, then Arch declares. I do not think this is a just going away story. I don't. And I also still have this wonder of it all, of what will this year look like for Arch Manning? Because you do not have a lot of high-level reps. It is not as simple as five-star quarterback, boom, perfect player, goes first overall. All these questions will exist where we will watch it play out. But the current starting point of this college football season, and even to some degree this NFL season, the presumptive number one overall pick and Heisman Trophy favorite is going to run it back at Texas from a year from now. I think it is a fascinating situation. We head to the pitch next.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's becoming just harder in general to do business from a money standpoint in general, let alone the competition. So yeah, Betfred closing up shop will be gone by tomorrow. We'll see if any sportsbook fills this void. It'll mean that there's a license up for grabs in Pennsylvania, which is one of the biggest states for sports betting and is home to a lot of other operators. At this point, we're getting to a time when no one's rushing into the market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Game time decisions with you here on a Thursday. Helping you get ready, though, to make some decisions possibly this weekend, as it is a jam-packed slate of MLS action. And to help us break that down is Marcelino Ortiz. We've had him on here before, back when we were getting PSG and Chelsea playing in that great game, not too far away from our studio here. Marcelino, we appreciate you making some time.
Thank you for having me, and welcome. Here we are from the set of Latin Nation Football Club. Every Friday at noon Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern, you can join us to learn the latest in soccer news. And I have exciting games for you guys this weekend. I want to start with San Jose Earthquakes versus Vancouver Whitecaps. These two teams are some of the highest scoring teams in MLS. Vancouver Whitecaps are the hottest team in the league, first place, and I believe that they are at a plus 120 for the win. San Jose is at plus 160 and the draw at 240. The draw seems exciting, but the reality is that the money is at betting on both teams to score, because we are looking at two of the teams that have the most lethal attackers in the league. Vancouver attack is great. They have White, which is a very, very skilled players that normally scores with the head. And in the San Jose Earthquakes, we have two of the best strikers in the league, in Joseph Martinez and Chicho Arango. So if you want a good bet, go for the over on goals and both teams to score.
Marcelino, can I ask you quickly about the addition of Thomas Muller to Vancouver? Of course, a legend of German soccer, played a long time at Bayern Munich, joins the Whitecaps, I think somewhat surprisingly.
I know, never did I thought that the Whitecaps will take the lead on this negotiation, but that was the case. And we see a legendary player that comes reinforce a team that is already playing really, really, really well. So right now, for me, Vancouver became de facto one of the top three candidates to take the MLS Cup. Mueller, we know that his level is at the very highest level. So I think that he will make an impact immediately for the Whitecaps. And I think that this week particular, we saw so much improvement to MLS at a whole with all these new transfers. And that leads me to the next game, Chicago Fire hosting LAFC. We will be talking about the welcoming of Son to the team. But before we have to talk about the game, it's going to happen on Chicago. And the odds right now are favoring LAFC at plus 110, the draw at 2 plus 40. But again, this game will be an inspired game after a week of being with their new player, Son, the best Asian footballer of history that just recently joined the team for $26 million. They will be inspired and they will come out and try to impress the new players. So I believe that they will win. One sneaky bet that I saw that I really like is LAFC to score first and last for plus 1,500. I think that's a beautiful bet. It will be fulfilled because this team is going to be really inspired.
I like that a lot. We can get something in that 15-1 range there. And Marcelino and I were talking a little bit before we got going. The impact of a player like Son at this age joining MLS is great. But still the most noteworthy thing that has ever happened to this league, and you could argue no matter what will ever happen, is Lionel Messi joining Inter Miami. And, I mean, I don't want to say good as ever because his prime is maybe the best that's ever done it, but 18 games, 18 goals, chips in 10 assists because why not? He's incredible. What do you think about their match with Orlando?
I think this is the Clásico for Florida. I think it's going to be an exciting game. We hope to see Messi back on the lineup. He has been sidelined by an injury, but clearly right now Miami is the favorite. They have a great team. The addition of DePaul, a World Cup winner, makes them still as strong as ever without Messi. The draw at plus 240, that's why it's price friendly, because it's very unlikely. I think Miami is on a run. They had a great performance in the Leagues Cup, and I think they will win. I will go with the over on goals because, again, the firepower that Miami, they just beat Pumas from Mexico 3-1. So even with Messi, they will come out and score in bunches. So my play is over on goals and Miami to score first and both teams to score because Orlando will fight till the end on this Clásico.
All right, fantastic there. Gets us set for a really, really great weekend of MLS action. Marcelino, we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And remember, every Friday here on SportsGrid at 12 Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, you can watch Latin Nation Football Club with all the latest bets and information to win in the margins. And I thank you for having me and see you next time.
Amazing, amazing stuff there. The MLS, it's continuing to grow, and Marcelino helping us get ready for it. We take a break. We come back with more Game Time decisions.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shador's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's becoming just harder in general to do business from a money standpoint in general, let alone the competition. So yeah, Betfred closing up shop, will be gone by tomorrow. We'll see if any sportsbook fills this void. It'll mean that there's a license up for grabs in Pennsylvania, which is one of the biggest states for sports betting and is home to a lot of other operators. At this point, we're getting to a time when no one's rushing into the market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
All right, back at the right here. It is Game Time Decisions and a legitimately important update in the preseason game. And no, I am not talking about Keaton Mitchell looking like the best running back in the history of football. I am talking about a pretty tough hit that Anthony Richardson took. Protection was a mess. Edge rusher comes off unblocked. It is a clean hit. And Richardson was not in. That was a second down play. He was not in for third down. They said the trainers were looking at him. Then they said it was fine. Now they're looking at his hand. It is, I would say, very on the board that Anthony Richardson does not take another snap. It is preseason. But also, the very difficult thing is these are important reps because they're having a quarterback battle. So I don't think Richardson will not want to go back out there if he can. The Colts need to be smart, but the Colts needing to be smart also extends to Daniel Jones, because if they're not blocking, then you can't run your actual quarterbacks out there because that's dangerous. So Colts Ravens all of a sudden become something to watch. Our team in the back tracking the markets. They pulled the Colts starting quarterback markets. As this game is ongoing, we will give you the updates. The Ravens, though, are up 7-3 right now in the live market because, yes, there are options to get involved with these games live. The Colts still hold as a favorite. That total up to 40 and a hook. Don't forget, we are on the Eagles catching the 6.5 with that game coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals. If you're not betting NFL preseason and you're not betting any Major League Baseball, you must be betting the WNBA, and that means we need the help of Coach James Young. JY, great to have you, sir, on a Thursday night. How you feeling, man?
Hey, I haven't been on all week. Yo, real quick, we got to do this. Shout out to I'm working basketball camp. Let me tell you young bucks something. Hopefully they're listening. If not, I'll play for them tomorrow at camp. Can we stop this De'Aaron Fox as a top 10 point guard in the NBA? I mean, can we put this to rest? Peter, do you think De'Aaron Fox is a top 10 point guard in the league? And you have to include Halliburton, Lillard, and Kyrie.
But the 8 point guards that are injured that are better than him. Yeah,
well, he's still not better.
Yeah, it's a look, the De'Aaron Fox, like I said, I don't think they should have traded for him, and instead they traded for him and paid him a ton. Unless De'Aaron Fox, though, was playing in the game between the Sky and the Dream tonight, I say we try and figure out how much of a boost it could be, JY, for the Chicago Sky potentially getting Ariel Atkins back. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be another game for Ariel Atkins, which is important because her first game in over a month or nearly a month was against Washington on Tuesday. She scored an efficient 15 points, and they beat the Mystics by 14 in a game that they were decent dogs in, mind you. What do you think about Chicago and Atlanta tonight?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of points. And with her being back, they're a completely different team. They want to talk about Angel Reese. Ariel Atkins has really been a surprise and really played particularly well. Also, you're going to obviously look at Cardozo to have a big game. I'm staying away from either side, and I'm going to the prop market. I'm looking at Alicia Gray over 5.5 rebounds. Listen, it's been 4.5 for most of the year, but now it's at 5.5. Over 7 of the last 10 games. No BG tonight, right? Also, no Angel Reese. So 2 primary rebounders are out of the lineup. But the other key thing, Kev, is long shot, long rebounds. Chicago is 12th. That's second to last in 3-point shooting percentage. Long shots, long rebounds, guard get rebounds. Gray over 5.5 rebounds tonight.
All right, so a little love in the guard rebounding market. Sparks Sun, JY, this LA team continues to stay hot. They have not just been winning, but they've now been beating some good teams. Seattle, the Fever, the Liberty. They're laying nearly double digits now against the Connecticut Sun. What do you make of this game?
Well, when you look at this game, I'm going to give you a play and a prop. I'm not going with the 9.5. I'm going to go with the team total with the Sparks over 93.5 points. Over 5 of the last 7 games, missed game, 1 game by the hook. Connecticut is like 2 out of 10 teams to go under this. But if you really dig deeper, they have the game, the Sparks, when they scored over 101 points. What's really key with the Sparks to me is the play of Rickea Jackson. She gives them that added element and that other score that can really light it up. So I'm going to go with Rickea Jackson. Plus, you got to remember that the Sparks shoot the ball at the 3-point line really well. So if I'm going with the Sparks team total over 93.5, 92.5, where is the prop mark I'm going? I'm going Kelsey Plum. And because of Rickea Jackson, because of Cameron Brink, because of Dariqa Hamby, I'm going to go Kelsey Plum over 5.5 assists. Over 6 straight games, 6 out of 7. Connecticut allows the 3rd most amount of assists per game. Kelsey Plum can do it all, but she's going to have to pass the ball a little bit. Give me Kelsey Plum over 5.5 assists tonight.
Yeah, this is one of those games where, I saw the overnight numbers had the Sun catching above that 9.5, and I thought that was a little bit tempting. That number, though, had moved a little too much for me to get involved. I'm not betting any W tonight. If I were, though, I would probably be tailing Coach on his final play here, which comes to us in the biggest game on the slate, which is the Fever and the Mercury. 2 really good teams, JY, regardless of whether Caitlin Clark is out there or not. What are you expecting with Phoenix at home, laying 4.5?
Everybody looks at the players like Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard, obviously Satu Sabali, Alyssa Thomas, Kalia Copper, and you're thinking, JY's going over. You zig, I zag. I'm going under 172.5, Kevin. Phoenix's health team has gone over this in 5 straight games. I know they're 2 of the top 6 offenses in the WNBA. Kevin's excited about something. We'll find out in a second. But if you look at the field goal percentage defense of Phoenix, it is 4th. 4th in defensive efficiency. They don't turn the ball over a lot. And I think Phoenix is looking at the fact that they're, 1 game out of the loss column behind New York. I think they're trying to make this player for that 2 seed. They're going to rely on their defense. Give me under 172.5 and Fever versus the Mercury.
I really like that play. JY, I was paying attention to you, but you can't get anything past a coach and a teacher, to be fair. So he did catch me reacting to a punt return touchdown by the Baltimore Ravens, JY. I had the over in that game, so I'm pretty excited. Coach, before we let you go, I just want to ask you quickly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Fever playing this well without Caitlin Clark? Do you think it's going to be an adjustment like a tough adjustment when Clark is back, or this is all positive?
I think it's all positive because I think it puts less pressure on Caitlin Clark, particularly to knock down three-point shots. But there's a lot of interesting storylines that are coming out of the WNBA. DeAndre Carrington going to the Lynx is phenomenal for the fact that she's the best defensive player. Moved Kayla McBride to be a shooter. Brittany Sykes, who had her best season in 9 years, made the WNBA All-Star team, one of the top defenders, goes to Seattle. They get scoring depth. They get a defender. But also, Emma Messerman has looked really good and starting to get going with the Liberty. That is going to make them dangerous when Stewie comes back. You could see at times, ready for this, folks? Sab, Fevich, Messerman, Stewie, John Quell. That's 5'9", 6'4", 6'5", 6'5", 6'6". That is going to be tough to defend once the playoffs start.
Yeah, and I know that Liberty team has continued to impress you, JY. They do just need to get Stewie back out there. I am waiting to see what it looks like when we do get Caitlin Clark back for the Fever. I think it is a massive credit to the job that Stephanie White has done to get this team. You can see it in the numbers, right? Like, usually them going to Phoenix without Clark, that'd be double digits. That's 4.5. It's been an impressive turnaround, but at some point they will need Clark back. JY, it is great to check in with you, my man. We're going to get back to the preseason action, though, next here on Game Time Decisions.
Top 10.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's becoming just harder in general to do business from a money standpoint in general, let alone the competition. So yeah, Betfred closing up shop will be gone by tomorrow. We'll see if any sportsbook fills this void. It'll mean that there's a license up for grabs in Pennsylvania, which is one of the biggest states for sports betting and is home to a lot of other operators. At this point, we're getting to a time when no one's rushing into the market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Oh, we're back. I'm watching the Birds. I'm watching the Birds-Bengals game, people. That's real. That's real. Holding, offense, 1st and 20. Fantastic. It's very genuine. You know it's genuine. The preseason football is on and popping. Preseason Ravens, way back. Way back. I mean, it has to feel like it's already on the Birds' foot as far as the Sam Yarnell 9-1 best bet. It has to feel that way. What an absolute demon team a punt return, but Daniel Jones is starting to sizzle. Tyler Warren, I mean, grab your offensive rookie of the year tickets while you still can. This guy looks red hot right now. Anthony Richardson also very much knocked out of this game, which is not good for a quarterback competition. Though then again, maybe letting Daniel Jones play is actually the move. I think Cat might have been onto something. Like, instead of Richardson playing himself into the job, let Daniel Jones play himself out of the job. Might have something there. It has been confirmed that Richardson, with a finger, will not return. The interesting thing is the Colts' preseason plan was for a quarter and a half of this game to go to Richardson and a half of the quarter to go to Jones, and then flip that next week. Anthony Richardson, I would imagine, they will now plan on playing significantly more in the week 2 preseason game, assuming he is good to go. If he is not good to go, do we drag it into week 3? Does Jones start week 1 and then we'll see what happens in week, 4, 5, like whenever he's back? I don't know. This becomes a really interesting thing to watch, and it happened almost immediately. In other preseason news, it turns out Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase playing in the preseason game has the chance to be impactful. The game did start with Burrow absolutely sailing his first pass to T. Higgins. I had eyes on it, and I thought to myself, this is perfect. Get off. If they can just stop them from scoring on the first drive, that's great news. They ran an out route to Jamar Chase, and you right away knew. It's like, all right, so those two could probably, if they want, just spam a chase route and go down the field. Jamar Chase, on the opening drive, 3 catches for 41 yards. Burrow did then complete his next 6 passes for 71 yards total and a touchdown. Here's legitimately, though, why I think the Eagles are still in a decent spot. I'm not sure Burrow plays another series now, because I think they're going to want to play him still in the second week of the preseason. I know they said multiple drives, but that drive went so well, they may pull back. I just think it's on the board. I'm not going to double down at the current updated 11.5. I'm not going to fade the live total of 39 and a hook, but it's not an all hope is lost for the Eagles bet. Paul Skeens starting to get it going. He is right now responsible for keeping this game under the number. 4 innings, 6 Ks. He's allowed a couple of runners. 5 hits is a little lofty for Paul Skeens. For example, Skeens is not allowed more than 5 hits in a game since mid-May. He's already at 5 through 4 innings here, but no damage. No runs, at least. He's got 64 pitches on his arm right now. So that is where things sit in the Pirates-Reds game. The Mariners did complete the sweep, by the way, winning that one in the bottom of the 11th. And then Braves-Marlins, Carlos Carrasco just getting absolutely lit up here. Drake Baldwin did get himself a home run in the bottom of the first inning, followed by a Marcell Ozuna home run to open the scoring, but the Marlins take it right back. That game is 5-2. Let's see the most recent price quickly on Drake Baldwin for the NL Rookie of the Year. -150. Isaac Collins has come soaring into the race at +155. I do wonder if Jacob Mizorowski is back. I don't want, immediately is the wrong word, but if Jacob Mizorowski is back as soon as he can be, I wonder if that 25-1 number is worth taking a look at. I wonder if there could be some juice on that. I think that is worth consideration, is what I would say here. I wouldn't hand wave that number at all. We did get a field goal made by the Indianapolis Colts, so you have 20 points now in that preseason game. Live total is 46 and a hook. Ravens at a 3.5-point favorite. That is probably a bad number. When you consider the fact that the Colts have already lost the Richardson reps for the game. And maybe the Colts will be a little gun shy on how much they play Daniel Jones just because he wasn't supposed to play this much today. The Ravens are up in this game by 8. That 3.5 probably looks that's a little light. Maybe you want to grab the minus 194 and flip it into, if there's something you like in the W tonight. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea. Like, if you grab that and Marina Mabry for 10, is there something there? Now it's up to minus 205. People are doing it. People are moving numbers. We're at minus 128. Just tossing this Kelsey. Nah, it does nothing for us. That does nothing for us. Who else could we get here? Maybe, let's see, Aaliyah Boston for 10. That's minus 102. I don't hate that. Ravens money line, Mabry for 10, Boston for 10. If you want a little in-game, and then the W that's still to come, you get about even money on that. I think that's a nice little look. If you want to get set up and running. So we're about to get the end of the first quarter in Ravens Colts. Tanner McKee and the Eagles offense is out there right now in that preseason game. Things are looking good. We're going to remind you what we like tonight in the Raiders-Seahawks game. We're going to get you a re-rack of the Thursday, 5 days a week. Things throwing me off now. Thursday two-step. It's next. It's Game Time Decisions.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shador's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list. So he can earn a job on this football team.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Becoming just harder in general to do business from a money standpoint in general, let alone the competition. So yeah, Betfred closing up shop will be gone by tomorrow. We'll see if any sportsbook fills this void. It'll mean that there's a license up for grabs in Pennsylvania, which is one of the biggest states for sports betting and is home to a lot of other operators. At this point, we're getting to a time when no one's rushing into the market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Closing out this Thursday Game Time Decisions, the programming note that I need to give you is we will be back here for Friday's Game Time Decisions, which will feature another fantastic NFL preseason slate. Lions, Falcons, Pats, Commanders, the main event of preseason action. Browns, Panthers, Shador Sanders gets the start. Cannot wait to break that one down. I think it is going to be a really fun follow, and we will be following it here on Game Time Decisions. We do have one preseason game that has not started just yet, and that is Raiders-Seahawks. But I just want to let people know. Now, I am behind, most likely, on the stream, so you may know the result to this. But the Eagles' drive, buoyed by a Will Shipley big-time run, has set them up for 4th and goal on basically the inch line. And the Eagles are going to run a tush-push with Tanner McKee. And I think they got it, but it's up. But it's, they were worried. Joey B, if I was Burrow, I wouldn't take the field again. I don't want to get outplayed by Tanner McKee so obviously. An incomplete pass, Tanner McKee would never. Jahan Dotson, merchant, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Can I tell you folks something under the hat? I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan. No, that's not it. All right? Under the hat, our guy Sam Yarnell is not overly fond of the Eagles. He'll tell you that. It doesn't cloud his opinions, right? But you would think he bleeds Kelly Green when you hear him talk about Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee, here's what I'm saying. You called up Sam Yarnell, who believes Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football, ranked him number 1 on his quarterback rankings. You said, hey, Josh is going to miss a week. You can have any backup quarterback in the league. It takes him 2 seconds to answer Tanner McKee. And he might take him over a couple of starters. He might take him. Oh, I'm looking at you. I wasn't going to say it. It's going to be a good season for the Jets, man. Don't worry about it. Keep your head high. Keep your head high. Who had that Tanner McKee anytime? Now let's figure out what these Thursday two-steps were. Who named this thing? Me. Ferguson, Andrews. The tight end special plus 450. 6 tugs for Andrews. 750 yards for Jake Ferguson. I'm not mad at it. The Chris one I'm mad at because under the hat, I know he played the 1,000. He gave the people the 176 silent killer. You know he played that 1K. It lines up too nicely not to. On his behalf, I encourage you to up this to 1K. And in fact, I'll tell you this, and he won't agree with this, and that's okay. I'm more confident in Ridley getting 1,000 than Garrett Wilson. I mean, come on now. Don't be scared. Better quarterback? Who disagrees with me? Who disagrees? Come on now. I think some would say that this show not hitting the Justin Fields preseason statistics has been some crafting done by our executive producer. I've heard the streets say it. I wouldn't say it. I would never say that about Chris. But I've heard people say it. And then here he comes again, most unbiased man history of sports media with the house special. Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, 30 tugs each, 10-1. Why not? Hey, what do you guys have? You got any wine? We got a house special. Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, 30-plus passing touchdowns each, 10-1. If you know, you know. That's where we're at. Oh, Raiders, Seahawks, I almost forgot. We love Seattle tonight. How do you not love Seattle tonight? Doesn't even make sense. Should be favored. At home. At home. McDonald trying to show the people that they made the right move bringing him in for Pete Carroll. Everyone's talking about the revenge spot for Pete Carroll. What's he mad about? They gave him a cushy job in a front office. Now he lives in Sin City. He's fine. Don't worry about him. Mike McDonald's something to prove. That's my expectations. And then you get Drew Lock out there. Is Drew Lock as good as Aiden O'Connell? I think so. Is Jalen Milroe as good as, Sam Darnold? Let's open that quarterback battle. Is Jalen Milroe, though, as good as Cam Miller? Yeah. You think Geno Smith reps are going to be enough to turn this thing around? I don't. We like the points with the Seahawks. Someone get Burrow out of this game. In-game live's next.